Oh, YouTube. Well, today I start doing the actual remodel. Had that piece was from the old build, and it stuck out about a ½ inch into where I want to, where my closet will be, and I really want it to be a little nicer than, you know, have that little ½ inch off. So now I got to cut the plywood. As you saw in the last video, you know, I had the nice sawhorses. This is a nice height. Could be a little lower when I rip in big sheets, but it's good enough. It makes a nice compromise between working on cabinetry and the kind of stuff down here and being up high. All right, so let me get to cutting this plywood, and you'll see how well these sawhorses work. Okay, so I cut this plywood and I set the depth just a little bit below, and that way it won't cut too deep into the 2x4s if I hit them. And as you can see, not the straightest cut because I did it with one hand, but they don't fall down. And that's why I built this kind of thing. So now I put this in. I said this is just going to cover up the wires, and then we'll get to the next step. All right, the next step is I'm going to make a very narrow closet. It's only going to be 10 inches wide, so not very big. But so got the ½ inch here. I'm coming out 10.5 inches here, and the same back here. So I made a mark here and here. This is 72 inches tall, I do believe. Actually, it's like 71.5. So I need to cut a piece 71.5. I'm going to cut it just a little longer and then cut this curve into it. Now I have a new toy, as I like to call them. Other people call them tools. That's basically a big long way to check the or to copy a shape or a curve. So I just lay this out along this curve. And where's my mark on the ceiling? It's right there. And basically just tighten this up as I go to get this curve. Obviously, probably be a little easier with a second set of hands. But that's way easier than the way I did it before with cardboard and flummoxing around. And the reason I'm gonna cut the wall just a little longer than the 71.5 is I want it to be a little long, so if there's any kind of adjustments I got to do, I can do it, and I can just trim a hair off the bottom until it fits perfectly. Planning ahead is I'm going to have a door on this that I want to set flush with this. So this outer wall is 30 inches, so I need to cut this next wall at 29.25, because I'm going to have a 3/4 inch door here to open up. So I want that to set flush, and then when I do the drawers and stuff, I will make them set flush to it. This out here is a little longer than that because of the 1/2 inch piece on the end, but that's okay. That means this is going to set in a 1/2 inch, and that's fine. So let's go cut some plywood. All right, so again, 29.25 by 71, and to maximize use, I mean, you could just rip it really long. Because I got a lot of drawers that are going to be a little less than 48, they're going to be 26 inches deep. What I'm going to do is cut off this long piece. Instead of trying to end up with an L shape with a weird cut in the middle, cutting this off, cutting that off, and this will be the piece that is going to be the wall. So let me get cutting that. I gotta tell you that with that new tool, first time, I'm a little off, but that's really nice and tight. And the way I'm attaching this is I have 2x2s between the bus ribs, right here, and right here. So I put pocket hole things, and I'm just going to run a screw up through, but I'm going to use these. They're a little longer than the pocket hole screws I have, and I'm going to run some into the ceiling, some into the wall, some into the floor. Let me get this all screwed up in there, and that's going to end up being my closet. Very small, but that's okay. It's not meant to hold a lot of stuff. But I got to make sure, the big thing is to make sure this wall is parallel with that wall, because I start putting drawers in here. The longest ones are going to go all the way from this wall to here. Shorter ones down at the bottom, which is where the refrigerator is going to go. So let me get all this attached. Well, there's the basic frame. I've got a shelf up here, framework out. Did get the heater installed down below here, and electric redone for the refrigerator. So now I'm going to build the lower drawer and then the drawer for the refrigerator, and I got this 1-inch piece that's going to go along the bottom. So now we get to build some drawers.
Off the wagon and he spread out his hands. Brace yourselves and come for your women. We will do what